Hello, one. Chat is currently unavailable, it says. Interesting. Put the Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's having a good day. So today I'm gonna be looking for my Model 2. There's a few. I'm just gonna wait to see if more people hop in before I start talking about everything. But the volume's a little loud. Alright, let me get into it, I guess. So, first things first, we've had a lot of consolidation. Sideways price action overnight, as you can see, since the opening at 6. And I'm expecting markets to come down here, pull back, I don't know, some area down here beneath the relative equal lows, which then I'd like to see a strong run higher. Hopefully, this is what I'm hoping for. So right now, all I've been waiting for is a price swing higher. So a few or one nice up close candle, and then for a swing low to be taken out, but the body's closing beneath that price swing higher before I look for longs. But I'm hello Theo, how you doing? Good morning. Let me put this over here. Yeah. But yeah, this consolidation over here is a little suspect. It'll probably be an hourly order block, and also a previous day close. But getting down to that area would just be, I think, a good spot to just see support from and start expecting longs. But honestly, at any point in time, it doesn't have to come down here. At any point in time, if it shows me what I need to see, which is a breaker setup, then I'm gonna take it. What's up, Nolani? I was just talking about my bias. Right now, I'm expecting something like this. These other markets, oh my goodness. What the hell? Gold about to go to 4K. I don't like how the Dow is going up like this. It's not even that it's just so bullish. The Dow is so bullish right now, and the Nasdaq is just so sideways. I just don't like it. But my expectations are lowered anyway for today because even though we do have red news, PMI flash is red news. On depends where you look at it though. We have Fed Chair Powell's speech, which is not just any speech. This speech is about what they're going to do with rates. Yeah, that was YM Nolani. So I don't know if I was reading an article this morning, but basically Powell's going to talk about the future path for interest rates, and he might say the more of the same thing. He might say something different. Point is, he's making a speech on economic outlook. Yeah. He took out all these relative equal lows. It's no surprise we're seeing pullback, but I expect it to continue going lower. At least give me that nice price swing. Yeah, bro, I already looked at it, trust me. Right before you hopped on, I was taking a look at it. I don't even want to look at it again. Oh, how you doing, Omar? Good morning. I was excited to trade this morning because of the Powell speech. I was thinking, oh, like maybe ahead of this economic outlook speech, a lot of people are going to be having money on the line and trading might happen a lot, but with the overnight consolidation. But now with YM going higher, I mean, honestly, if NASDAQ can come down enough here and then start to turn higher, they would line up and we could see the Dow continue going higher as the NASDAQ just catches up to it. Again, I'm thinking it's likely somewhere in this area will bounce. Somewhere within that consolidation will bounce. That's what I'm looking for. And maybe my model will show up. But if it does get down here, I just want to see the Dow keep up going higher, and then that would help. That would probably give really nice price action on the NASDAQ. I'm doing the best I've ever been, man. Life is treating me well. Gym is going great. Processing every day. It's week 8 of my cut, and I'm down like 16 pounds, so I'm in route to competing soon. Trading going well too. Still some areas I'm working on, but it's on the way, Nice. I'm glad you're doing great. What are the areas you're working on? What's good, Lewis? I see you in here. So mark out this area sell side. It's a potential draw. And then I'll also mark out previous day close. And these are just areas we could bounce from. This one's around 866. There's also this breakaway gap on the 15-minute chart, so we could come down here, mitigate that, and then bounce from here. I just want to see my model form show up, so hopefully it doesn't do that. The biggest thing holding me back is bending my rules from an eagerness that comes from wanting money and executing my edge. Yeah, I mean, I felt like that this morning too. On my Top Step account, like my funded account, I wanted to short at open, near open, because I could kind of tell I preferred that a move lower would happen before we continue going higher. Because I mean, every time we rally, every time price kind of rallies and then consolidates a little bit, moves sideways, it always just sweeps lower. Like over here, we rallied, consolidated, swept lower, and ran higher. So I kind of want to see that sweep lower and then I run higher. So I thought of shorting the market open, and it's a challenge. So you know, if I lose the money, it's not like I lost real money, and if I make the money, I get a step closer to closing the challenge, passing the challenge. And I was thinking, oh, I'm just gonna risk a little bit, but that's how it becomes a trap. And then you deviate from your plan once, you trade something else, and even if it might make sense, then you start trading a bunch of other things, and then if ever you get emotional and make a mistake, you got no way of figuring out where it went wrong, how it went wrong, because you've taken a bunch of different trades. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's a challenge to stick to one thing when I trade prop firms. How you doing, bro? This shit takes a minute before you see it. You saying talking about how delayed my stream is? Yeah, it's possible my stream is delayed, but I like it that way. Then people are more inclined to take their own entries rather than doing exactly what I say. But I do help, build a narrative for price. Now a little bit of pullback. We hit the breakaway gap. And I marked out this gap because on the 15-minute chart, it's the last open gap of the current range that we're trading within. The current dealing range from that low to that high. Within that, we've consolidated and now are retracing into the lowest fair value gap. On the 5-minute chart, there is a lower open fair value gap, but because on a higher time frame, there's this one, I'm not considering it, and then hourly chart, we're inside an entire gap. But it's this one's fully fully underneath 50%. So we kind of mitigate, we kind of tapped into that and are now pulling back a little bit. It could continue going lower and dig deeper into it, even run to the sell side liquidity. It doesn't have to, and I'm just waiting. I want to see that 5-minute short-term price swing. So we seem like we're getting that right now. We're getting like this short-term move higher. If it can keep going maybe 1 or 2 candles and they're nice and beefy, then if we were to run down beneath that, so if we get from this point something like this, then I'd be willing to take it, go long on a trade like that. So I'd be looking for something like this, and I'm gonna wait and see if that occurs. Nolani said, I'm debating if I should bring my laptop to the gym. But you don't need it, right? You don't really need your laptop. The only reason you need it is to end the recording, right? I can just imagine Nolani walking into the gym with her laptop, because she's in a trade right now. She's in a short. I can imagine her walking into the gym with her laptop, just looking at her trade. Walking around the gym between exercises, staring at her laptop screen. You don't know your login? How'd you take the trade then? Yeah, you would. I don't like how back and forth price is right here. So in terms of making a false move higher and then sweeping it and then going distributing higher, I don't really like how it's back and forth. You see there's a large wick, back down. So I mean, it doesn't really look, that's not a really good sign if I want to see a sweep. Oh, are you talking about your login for Top Step? What? 24,657? Why is it down here? Somebody's gonna have to break it there. Yeah, I know, but oh, you mean you don't know your login? Oh, okay, that was just like a random comment. Okay. Wait, is 24,657 the same level as here, or is it different? Like which candles low are you aiming for on the 15-minute chart? So I think like NAS. Oh, 24,657. Oh, okay, yeah. I see, that's a little bit better. I was about to say. Okay. Oh, I was about to say. Alright, that's fine then. Because me, that price level is 24,900. So this wouldn't be a sweep. It's, even though there's a 5-minute short-term low, I wouldn't consider that as a sweep because of how the bodies look. That short-term price swing, I don't need to go down to the 1 minute, but it just doesn't really look like a breaker at all, you know? Holy fuck. Oh my god. Look what I just found. This is insane. This is like an economics thing that I had. What the heck? And then I have a bunch of Bible quotes and part of Quintilian's essay. Proverbs 10:15 states that the wealth of the rich is their fortified city, but poverty is the ruin of the poor. It highlights the contrast between security that wealth provides to the wealthy and the vulnerability that poverty exposes the board too. That's not what it says though, I remember. Yeah, we can read it later. But right now, I want to trade. Getting a little bit of a reaction here as we dip into that 5 minute refine gap. Look at that, guys. You think that's random? I'm just being facetious. But the reaction, the positive reaction from all these arrays could be a sign that we're accumulating longs and getting ready to go higher. It doesn't have to come down to the sell side. I just want it to come down to this area. Generally, within these wicks, this consolidation, it can bounce anywhere there. But the probabilities increase the further down we go up until the previous day's close. I just need to make sure that the range it were to make. So if it makes a range above like 150, 160, I'm no longer trading. It gives us plenty of space. The only thing is the palace speech. I like this gap here. That's the silver bullet. Someone could have taken like a 1-on-1 using this. I wouldn't go short though anymore. I wouldn't have went short on this anyway. I already told everybody what I'm looking for, but see the Dow's still higher, starting to pull back a bit. S&P is in the middle, Nasdaq's going lower. This really isn't high probability right now at all. Strong reaction right now. Alright, so more of this. We're running into the gap and then back and forth price action. This could be the nice price run. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we close a little bit higher here and then people think this is an inverse and they drop it down very quickly beneath that and then run it higher. And I mean, it could inverse that and just continue running up. But again, you know what I'm looking for. I already stated it. I need a short-term price swing higher. So something like this, you know, if we close up here and we have these nice beefy candles, then all I would need is for price to come down beneath that to mitigate the price swing to, you know, trade beneath it. And then the market's primed to go higher. I don't think if we were to have that, I don't think we'd go all the way down here. Could happen. And it could come down beneath this low and just continue going down. Alright, we already had from this low to that high, we have this nice body. If I turn off the wicks, it looks good. This is like, you know, I don't know, yeah, this is like the price swing. So honestly, if we come down beneath this low, then I have what it takes to look for a long. It does mean that, you know, this is what's going to happen. It could always lose. But I'm considering the risks right now. And with a Powell speech coming up at 12:35, where is it? Today, Powell. You know, he's going to be doing an important speech, right? Don't know. Apparently, it's not Powell doing it. It's somebody else. Oh, that already happened. Yeah, Bowman. Oh, actually, let's read that one. But Powell's going to be doing another one. If I really quickly show that one. Yeah. The economic outlook. Like, this is a big speech because it's the first public comment since central bank cut interest rates, but also it's about the economic outlook. So, I don't know. I think he'll probably just say the same things he always says, blah, blah, blah. But it could still, he'll say something else like, oh, we are going to cut rates next meeting, or if there's always possibility he says something like that. I think that's highly unlikely he would say anything like that, but he's supposed to be giving more direction as to where we're headed in the future with rates. And that being said, there might be a lot of money just on the side of the market, not really in the market, until that speech occurs. And tomorrow is new home sales, so I might stream tomorrow. I do not. New home sales can provide volatility sometimes, and seeing as how it's after Powell's speech, depending on how the speech is, it could be. I don't know, depending really on how the chart looks tomorrow, I'll decide. But I'm more interested in that GDP news on Thursday, and PCE on Friday. I think those are bigger pieces of news that a lot more people are going to be interested in. But nothing's stopping these markets from moving until then. One big concern I heard of recently in the economy is how, and I know I experienced this too in Canada. Like I see it happen, but with young people unable to find jobs. I have so many friends and younger people that I know that just can't find a job. It's impossible for them. No matter where they apply, it's just impossible. And it wasn't like that a few years ago. But also, not just that the economy is going through a rough time, it's also the amount of immigrants that are in the country. Like, you can pay refugees or immigrants, refugees, whatever, cheap labor, cheaper labor. They're adults. You can pay them minimum wage. They'll work because that currency they're working for is better than what it is in their country. And, they'll take what they can get. And since they need a job, kids don't necessarily need a job. They're not going to be as hardworking as an adult because they have school and other focuses. They're kids after all. It's just companies prefer to hire, the full-time workers that are from different countries. So, I mean, think about what that does to the next generation of your country. You don't really have, it's not really your country anymore at that point. I mean, let's the people that grew up in the country and are part of the culture of the country are no longer the ones that are running it, the economy. And even if you were to say, well, an immigrant is just as much as someone who is part of that country as a youth is, they still didn't grow up in that country and created the culture that it has today. So that's why I don't like my country, because I just don't think there's a culture anymore. Like, I look around and I go outside all the time, and it's like a culture hub, It's just a bunch of different cultures together, and I feel like the identity of my country is being erased almost and forming into something new. But oh well, that was just some yappa yappa. Price is really hoeing you, Nolani, isn't it? I don't like how this looks for a sweep anymore. Like, the fact we came all the way back up and left this large wick, and now we seem to be like we're about to leave another wick lower. This is just inefficient, and I don't want to see any wrongs off of this. I mean, this isn't accumulation, manipulation, distribution. This is like a slowdown, What I think here right now is 50-50. If you were to measure this right here, this consolidation, and then you were to go long in the middle, I just think either side would be 50-50. Loving the yappa yappa lol. Yeah, I know you do. You are only my number 2 fan though right now. We got Lewis at number 1. So someone, I don't know how Lewis is number 1. I don't even know if Lewis is even still here. He might have fell back asleep. Someone else has got a yappa more. Are you at the gym, by the way? You at the gym yet? Nice. Let's go. What? No, Ani, I think that question is directed to you. I don't know what the XP means. I think it's just about how fast or how much you comment, but I've noticed that people that don't comment often on most streams get more XP. Or it's just really delayed, I don't know. You have 75 XP. But so does everyone else. I don't know, it's just for some reason it won't get you to 100 XP, I don't know why. I mean, body sweep tier. Honestly, I'm not against trying to long this with like a $200 risk. Like a fifth of what I would normally risk on a high probability trade, because this isn't high probability. I noted Powell's speech, right? But not just that, but just how the sweep looks, how the bodies look. It's just very back and forth. It's not like clean. Like we don't have a very clean run that we can go beneath and then use it to go higher. So like this highlighted portion here would be summed down to, let me make it yellow, would be summed down to this. You know, that area is not very clean. So even if it comes down beneath this low down here, I would not take the trade on my live. Honestly, I'm not going to take the trade even just with a small risk like $200. It's just not worth the risk. I mean, yeah, it's just not the rules really. Price is telling you, but it'd be like that sometimes. Another way of looking at it, Nolani, is price is taking a break to accumulate more sell orders and flood more buyers into the market, thinking this is support. Because think about it, it's down here at this level, so there's obviously a reason to find support. There was consolidation here in the past, and this is on a higher time frame order block, so there's reason to find support here. But it could just be pulling back to this 50-minute fair value gap before it continues to go lower, right? I wouldn't think that's likely. I would rather see it dump lower if it were to attack this level, but it doesn't have to go to the sell side liquidity either. It can just come down and have already made the low. Only really thing I wanted to see is it at least dip into this area down here this morning before going higher, and it's already done that. The reason I wanted to see that area is just because this is an area where there was consolidation, which means orders went back and forth here, and if price were to look for areas to find efficiency, to find orders going back and forth, this would be one of them. The obvious place that price might draw to get orders going back and forth, because in the past people bought back and forth here, and now there's an idea of support, and so the market might be using this area of this pocket of buyers and sellers to pull back, to create a pullback, to then build up more sellers as it's pulling back up, and then the bigger pockets have built up enough of a selling position to then drop the market lower. Another thing is Dow is also still kind of going down, and now the Nasdaq's pulling back up, which is really, really weird. And this is actually a third thing that adds to the fact that lower probability, we have a lower probability of trades working out, is that the Dow and the Nasdaq are in complete disagreement right now. Is sometimes they start out by being in disagreement for the first 30 minutes and then they'll eventually agree, but right now they're just not agreeing at all. Like Nasdaq is going higher, Dow is going lower, and vice versa before that. So I really don't like to see that. The dollar is also consolidating on the lower time frame, which is also another bad sign. And we don't really care what gold does. S&P, same thing, we don't really care what it does. It's always in between the Nasdaq and the Dow anyway. But I honestly could not tell you right now where the market's going to go. If it's going to go higher or lower, it's really a 50-50. So there's just too many things that are in the way of providing a very clean market that's highly predictable right now. So I'm simply not going to put any money on the line. Unless I see a clean sweep and the Dow wants to agree, then that's the only reason I would. But yeah. The dollar consolidating is bad for trading because if things are priced in dollars, so everything that I'm trading right now is priced in dollars. So if the dollar were to rally and go higher, that means that, the the underlying asset I'm trying to trade, if the dollar is going higher, each dollar is more expensive, which means you need less of those dollars to buy the underlying asset. So you could make a bearish argument, and that's what I was conditioned. That's what I learned, I think, from ICT at one point in the 2023 mentorship, is that if the dollar is going higher, it's sometimes easier for the Nasdaq to go lower. But from my own experience, I haven't seen that. I don't know if that was just something ICT was saying for us to disagree with, but from what at least on the higher time frame, whenever the dollar is trending, like I'm talking about from an hourly chart or 4-hour chart, if the dollar is trending in a single direction and is currently moving higher, right now it's not. The past few candles we moved to the side, long wicks both ways. Usually, if it's going up, then all asset classes in dollars are going up. Oh no, sorry. The what I just talked about, where the dollar goes up and then other things easier to go down, that's with foreign currency. That's like anything price euro USD, because they're all on the dollar index. The euros always anything in USD for forex is going to be inversely correlated with the dollar. But for indexes and gold, well, not gold, but anything in the United States, like the United States stock market, the dollar going up is a representation that the United States dollar is increasing in strength. So will the stock market along with the dollar. And whenever I see the dollar trending, and I'm talking about periods where it's trending. So, like for example, from this high down to this low, in this entire price action, the best trades are going to be this initial move down here, maybe a manipulation up here, and then down here, because whenever the dollar moves, is other markets are also moving, and if the dollar is moving sideways, it's usually sticky for other markets to move. It makes it harder for them to move because the dollar is in the consolidation. I can't really explain it to you further than that. All I can really tell you is what I've noticed from looking at charts. Why that's the case, I can guess, but I don't really know. If the DXY trends, and it's easier for other stocks to trend as well. Yeah, exactly. But, well, maybe not all stocks. Like in different countries, it's not the same dynamic, but for the United States stocks, at least that's the dynamic. Maybe the dollar trending just makes stocks more attractive, and makes them, because the dollar is stronger, and makes them more valuable because they're priced in dollars and they make income in US dollars. So I think, yeah, the dollar is increasingly powerful. The income, anybody getting income in dollars is gaining strength. So is the companies in the United stock market. Like that could be one way of explaining it, but I don't really know why. That's just what happens. So if it's consolidating, it's just bad because, and I'm not saying the indices, and Omar isn't saying that either. He's saying that it's easier for indices to trend. So we could still see a down move or an up move. It's just a lot harder for it to happen. And that's like a fourth thing that I would add to my list of uncertainties, like low probability. So the first thing was we don't have a clean price swing. Second thing, the Dow's going opposing to where the index is going. Third thing is Powell's about to speak at lunchtime, and it's an important speech, and a lot of people are waiting for that. And then fourth thing is the dollar consolidating. Like there's so many factors right now that go against taking anything. That was a long explanation. Wow, that's Should have bought Apple a month ago. Well, I think everything's so overpriced though. But if you're holding anything, I wouldn't sell it either. I just think it's stupid if you're gonna buy something, a stock, any stock right now for the next 5 years. But what I was holding, I had gold that I bought in August 2024. Oh my god. I bought gold down here. I bought a lot of gold. I sold about 40%. I'd be up like almost 50%. And then I had a bit of NASDAQ equities. I had Barrick gold. I bought in August 2024. I don't know where that is. Somewhere here. That one's up 100%. My brother made a lot of money off this because I told him to buy it too. I bought MDA and I sold in July right here. I want to buy back in, but I also told myself that I don't want to do stocks anymore. I decided to sell my portfolio, travel, and then put the rest into my live account. And I bought Nvidia when it pulled back this year in April, around this area in March, and sold it near the highs. IBM and I don't know what that is. CRDS. Oh, how come? Which one? How come what? MDA I bought because I love the company. I think it's a very, very profitable space company. For a space company, they're insanely profitable, and they recently went public again after COVID, and they went private ahead of COVID in 2017. But this was very slow years, and there wasn't much talk about space. And after COVID, they had a pretty nice run up. It's just that it was very overbought, and I think there's too much excitement in space for now, because we were supposed to have a moon launch in September this year, but it was delayed to next year in the summer. So if everything is good geopolitically, we should hopefully have that, and that will create a lot of excitement. I just don't think that it's time right now to, it was just way too overbought and it didn't make sense. There was no insider trading. The CEO had sold shares a week ago, before the drop, and I don't know. I decided to get rid of it, and I was right. But gold, obvious, I bought it, talk about it all the time. It's going to go up with the dollar as risks increase and instability increases in the United States. Nvidia, they have a monopoly when it comes to producing chips for AI. All the AI companies want their chips, and I had talked to somebody who's a big Nvidia bull and works in the AI industry, and he said that basically Nvidia has the ability to produce chips that nobody else nobody else has the software that they use. No one else can actually have that software. They have the rights to it, and it's just other companies can innovate and catch up, but they're just Nvidia's years ahead in terms of innovation. And there's no reason anybody would want to go to another company to produce their chips like AMD. So that's one of the reasons I bought that. And then the rest was Barrick Gold. Barrick Gold is because it's a mining company. They mine gold. So because gold was rising, I also wanted to buy Barrick Gold, just because it's a gold miner, and I was just trying to find a way to leverage onto gold. So I bought this as a way to do that. But then I sold it and put it into MDA, and I put the rest I sold into MDA because it was just moving sideways for a whole year, and I just got when I got rid of it, it started running up. But it's okay, because when I sold it, I still made money somewhere else, and that's what I was looking for. And I used to own Walmart in 2020, and I fucked up on that one too. But in 2022, I sold it because I fucked up, but I sold it because I didn't know how to invest. I was just really just picking a bunch of stocks that I knew and hoping for the best. But I owned Apple in 2022 also. It is what it is. Buying stocks from now up to the next 5 years is stupid. No, I'm not saying buying stocks. I'm saying buying Apple, any of the big tech companies except for Nvidia, because the thing is, all these tech companies like Apple, Google, Meta, we're an AI bubble right now, and I'm not saying these companies are gonna get destroyed because of this, but look at Google. 25% of the revenue comes from Google searches, and AI has now affected that. Instead of searching on Google, now I just use ChatGPT. So the whole part of their business is gone, and market shares are being taken by other people. So if market shares move around, money moves around, it's not a good idea to get into something because there's just too many risks. Like anything could happen, and an AI could make another AI company go bust, and maybe that was the company Meta was investing in, and then all of a sudden Meta now has to invest into a new company. They lose their investments. I don't know. Or AI isn't what we thought it could do, and I don't know. But we don't have the energy requirements to make AI fully scalable right now. But when AI starts to scale, the bubble's gonna start to burst, and it's gonna be like the 2001 dot-com burst over again, where once the bubbles burst, the companies that are left, you want to buy them, and maybe none of the companies are gonna go bust, right? And maybe they're not even gonna have that much of a correction, but market shares will be taken and move around, and once that's fully done, then you can start to buy any of those companies. But buying right now, they're just way too oversold. Like look at a company such as, I don't know, we can go to a stock screener and look at, I don't know how to do that, to be honest. Okay, look at most of these companies, right? We'll go to Home Depot, right? Home Depot is a pretty big store for renovations and wood in the United States, but you see, it barely got above its all-time highs in 2024. It's not above its all-time highs right now. MasterCard, financials is a different story, but a lot of these retail stores, like this one, are just not really in the all-time high trending environment. As you can see, even Costco, financial one. I'm trying to find a good example. Most stocks in the stock market are, that's another financial. Yeah, Coca-Cola is another good example of what a big company Coca-Cola is. But you can see how it's not doing as well as, and look at the market caps at the same time. No, how do I? Oh my god. Market caps. The biggest market caps are obviously all tech companies. I don't know what that is. But, they're so huge because there's so much investments being put into them for AI. Like these 6 stocks and Tesla 7, they're so involved with AI that there's so much investment in them. And that's what's holding the market up, really, the investments into AI. Now, I've heard people say the argument, how do we know we're investing enough money? Like, how do we know we shouldn't be investing more money into AI? And honestly, it's a good point. But there's still the risks that we're investing too much money into AI, because we still need to invest money into many other places before AI can reach its full capabilities. Because really, if AI were to control the entire economy, there'd be no reason to buy anything. So, the impact AI could have is so huge that it could be worth so many billions of dollars more than what we've currently invested, and the bubble may not be close to popping or even ever pop because of this. But one thing is for sure is that market share is going to be taken, and moved around, especially until the point we get to the bubble bursting. But when it does burst, the market shares will have moved the most, and that's when you want to start buying, the companies. But right now, it's just kind of like you look at all these AI companies, and you don't know if any of them are still going to be surviving once AI is like fully popped and blown up, and scalable. You don't know which companies are going to be able to make their AIs work and start paying off the money they've borrowed from these big companies. You don't know if they'll be able to pay it back either, and so it could hurt other companies a little bit, like Meta or Tesla. They could be hurt a bit by that, and you don't want to buy the wrong one. So that's why I said don't buy any of the tech stocks. Buying the Nasdaq is completely different, or any other company. The reason I'm not buying stocks though, right now, I would buy MDA, I would buy uranium stocks, because I think uranium stocks are incredibly cheap. I had a couple I was looking at. There's the VanEck uranium and nuclear ETF, which has been performing pretty well. And then there is the UEC, which I like, is Uranium Energy Corporation. These are doing really well, and this one, earnings, a lot of them are bad, consistently bad, but that's good, because it means they're investing into the company. So those are things you do like to see. They have earnings this week too, but if you see, they don't get any revenue. They're just investing. They actually don't get any revenue. That's crazy. I had no revenue. They're really just investing money into the corporation. So they're a very small company too, and uranium is going to be very, 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 very used because of, obviously, with AI, and also engines for space travel. Uranium is just going to be very valued. So I think we need to build more nuclear reactors, or if we figure out fusion energy, that uranium is going to be another product in demand for another reason. So there's just a lot of reasons to buy this, and that's why I think it's really cheap. I did talk, before the AI craze, I wanted to buy this back in 2023. I never did though. It was one of the things that I just chose not to buy, and I don't regret, because I made money elsewhere, but this is still making a very good run right now, and I still think it's pretty cheap. So, we're not even talking about nuclear energy right now too much. So it's still time to buy that. United Health Group, I don't know what they are. It's not my sector. It's not my cup of tea, but I'll look at it. I know nothing in United Health Group though. I don't know what they do though. They just do healthcare services. Insurance. I don't know, man. It's just not my. You can tell me what you think about it, but it's just not. I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about these guys. Remember, I said how this might be one of those where we could come up here towards the high end of the gap, maybe inverse the gap. Seems like we've done that. We've only done that to pull back into this 15-minute fair value gap. And now we've gotten more people into shorts. We built up a bigger short position as more people bought the pullback. And I think hopefully now price is going to be clean and free to run to Nolani's TP. this company was involved in some very unethical things and it's pretty risky. Their CEO got murdered recently. Bruh. What the hell? Yeah. Damn. Good opportunity. Honestly, I'd buy some if I could. But right now, I'm putting all my money towards trading and savings before I start working again. When I start working again, though, and I get paychecks, that'll be different. I'll be able to start investing in more stocks. But right now, I'm seeing all these stocks make new highs without me. I wish I could participate in, but I can't, and that's okay. Man, this is not what I would want to see. If price is rejecting this 15-minute fair value gap and it wants to go lower, I don't like to see it retrace too much. This was good how it rejected it like this, but I would want it to keep going and really trend. So I don't like how it's just pulling back here into those wicks. It's sussy, but it can, if it continues dropping like right now though, it's fine. Maybe this is just pulling back into one of these gaps. This isn't a bad short here versus like silver bullet, but still incredibly low probability because of everything I just said countless times on the stream. I'm not saying technically this looks like a good short, but with everything else that's happening and with the dollar how it looks, with the Dow how it looks, the Dow is now going up again. This is not a really good short, but from a technical standpoint, I'd want it to keep going down here. It's just I think it's gonna have a very hard time doing so. It's not worth trying to short here. Manage my port on stocks. You don't have a portfolio for stocks, but I would. Just have to be shish about it, or then we can get into some regulatory issues. So actually, because of that, I would never do that. I would never ever take trades in place of other people and make a bunch of people money, because obviously that would be against regulatory issues and I could get in a lot of trouble if I'm caught. Nice, you want one. Okay, only if you won't tell. Hopefully the CRA is not watching my live stream. Hopefully the IRS is not watching my live stream either. price really hone us. Okay, we're getting a good run. So I wasn't wrong when I said technically this looks like a good short off this fair value gap. But again, with the risks, I was just not willing to take that. For all I know, the reason why is because for all I know, it could consolidate up here for a lot longer. Maybe make one more run higher and stop me out. I've seen that happen many times on trades like this. Another reason is that it could come down here, and this is why I would only do 1-to-1 in this situation. So I'd already be out of the trade. But it could come down to the near short-term low and then pull back up. And it's just taking longer and longer to be in the trade. And it might not end up going anywhere at the end of the day. It could still be moving sideways or until Powell's speech, where it manipulates one more time higher and stops you out. Or it can continue going. It's just a very uncertain scenario. Like, I'm just very uncertain about exactly what price wants to do. Once it gets down these short-term lows, it can pull back very easily, or it can consolidate up here for longer. Then the other thing is, it's not even my model anyway, so that's another thing. I don't short beneath midnight and 8:30 opening. Now we did have a nice short-term price swing, and we swept beneath that, so I have what it takes to look for a long And this is exactly what I'm talking about, where I say, it's just too conflicting. Like, my model is right now showing me that if we see displacement higher and I see a fair value gap go long, but I'm also seeing how we've manipulated higher, and now we've made a nice run, and we've once again committed to that run. So I don't know. I'm gonna if the Dow is willing to agree with me here and start, I still see us being bullish. So this would make the Dow and the Nasdaq in agreements. If we get a fair value gap, I'll take it, but with a very small risk. I'm gonna take it only risking $200 instead of what I normally risk, which is $1,000 on high probability plays. But this is extremely low probability. Like, I have a 7.5 point stop. If I were to take this, let's see. It doesn't look I'll even have the opportunity to take it. It's going to close in the gap. Yeah, it doesn't matter anyway. It's not going to be a trade. It closed in that gap and didn't leave one. Actually, there's an inverse. Alright, I took it with 2 micros. I'm only risking $30. The heck? Alright. I'm risking $115, which is like a tenth of my risk, of my full risk, on this small inverse gap here. And then closing top step. I'm gonna close my charts and, well, probably not close the charts. We'll see if my take profit is just up here. So just in case it pulls back and it wants to run out this high and then maybe that high before going lower again, that's basically what I'm betting on here. But this is still my model, so even if I were if I were to take this exact same trade over the course of 5 trades, I'll be profitable, and that's why I'm taking it. But because of everything that's stacked against me, it's more likely that this will be one of the losses. So I'm not risking as much. I'm risking very, very small. OD said, I think it might be time to go gym. Yeah, I agree. I unfortunately have to wait until a little later to go to the gym though today. It'll just be more convenient. Yeah, we got stopped. Well, we lost $114, so no big deal. Let me make sure I'm out of the trade though completely. Yeah. Let me journal that. And look what it's doing now. It wicked me out. It is what it is. But, you know, that's what happens when you're trading low probability. Shit like this will happen all the time. And, you know, if I were to continue to go long and try and long again here, it creates another gap and I go long. Did the probabilities increase? No. So I'd be ready for the exact same thing to happen to me again. And if it were to happen to me again, I don't think I'd like that. So I don't think I want to trade anymore. If this wants to now run back to these highs, it is what it is. It can continue to go lower. It's just like I said, it's going to take a lot longer for it to reach lower. As you can see, we've had about an hour of consolidation, or an hour and a half of consolidation. Is it like worth it? Like if I was sitting here and expecting a trade, you know, like a high probability trade, I would not want to sit through this and, you know, wait and be patient. Like it just wouldn't work. So when I saw the choppy price action, the Dow going up, and I knew Powell was speaking soon, and the dollar consolidating, prices being choppy here, I reduced my expectations. So that way, and I started putting my focus towards other things like stocks, my other monitor, and all that, because I'm trying to save my energy for whenever price does get in better environments, which could be Thursday, maybe Friday. And if it is those days, I'm hoping for a really nice trade. I'll come correct and I'll be ready to take it. Until then, it is what it is. Price will keep doing its thing. You know, I guess until Powell speaks in about an hour and 20 minutes. Nolani, what it's at right now? Ooh, I don't know. It's pulled back into the consolidation. It was near making another low, and then it's pulled back now to, I don't know what it would be on NAS. $24,726. You're not able to check though, but you're watching my stream. Are you talking about my Top Step account? If you're talking about my Top Step account, it's at P&L 2800, well, almost 2900. So I really just need like one more trade, one more high risk trade, like high probability trade where I risk 1000, and then I'm good. Anyways, price is back to the premium of this range, and you know, I'm gonna stay 2 more minutes to see if it's gonna pull back towards 50% of the consolidation. So that'd be around here, or if it's gonna continue going up and break through these highs and pull once back towards the 930 opening. So I'll give it 2 minutes to see what the consensus on that is, and then I'm going to hop off the stream. I want to thank everybody that tuned in. It was nice seeing some of you here, some of the regulars too. And I might stream tomorrow. I don't know, but if I do, it depends on the chart looks like. You'll see me on if I do. So at the same time. Other than that, I do plan on streaming Thursday and Friday. So I might take Friday off though, depending on how Thursday goes and how Friday looks. But yeah, good luck to everybody else. It's still trading, and I will see everyone whenever I stream next, either tomorrow or Thursday, or both. Let's give it another minute here. See what it does. Yeah, it seems like it's pulling back towards 50%. All right, then. That's it. Have a good day.